Dixo presenta Other Space Kill DAO with guests. Hosted by Nana and Nova.
Yes, let's get a nice little reset of the room. Really appreciate everyone for showing up to Kill DAO Volume 1 on Other Space FM with Garga. If you want to come up on stage, have a take, have some questions for everyone, feel free to request. Everyone go ahead and repost this space. It is recorded, so it'll be available for playback. And we got a badge for today. You can claim it on Other Space. There's a claim code with a link right at the top. Let's hang out. You know, let's continue this episode. I'm going to throw it back to Nova just to get his quick take, and then we'll say what's up to Alpha. We'll say what's up to Giant. We got Coco joining the stage. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. Nova, any kind of, first impressions of what was just shared? Anything stand out to you?
Yeah, definitely excited. A lot of big changes, I think, coming for the Ape ecosystem. Obviously, the other side launch around the corner now. We're going to have casino games, which I'm waiting for myself. Going to be playing poker and losing all my hard-earned money to other apes, probably. Excited. Just in general, I guess builder support is coming from ApeCo. There's going to be, obviously some, I think builder investments and grants coming. So I think that aspect of the DAO is still going to continue, which is great to see. I think focus on the three pillars, ApeChain, Base, the other side makes a lot of sense. We're getting a clubhouse. It won't be a 100-story clubhouse, unfortunately, but if it's like 2 or 3 stories, probably still will suffice my needs, for an annual visit. Yeah. Overall, DAO, I think just was, DAO was fun for a while. There was a period where I enjoyed the DAO process myself, and obviously, Other Page has gone through the AIP process, a couple times. I'm definitely thankful for everything DAO has done for us, but I think over time it's kind of became this old, slow-moving organism that just couldn't evolve, right? And over time, it just became clear that it was time for a change. So I'm definitely glad that we are taking steps now to wind down the DAO. I know there's a lot of opinions about how it should be done, how it shouldn't be done, and I personally, I'm on the side of let's just do it fast and quick. Let's just not overthink it. Let's just pull the cord and move on. Let's just not
People want the change. People want the change.
Let's not spend a year on governance and back and forth rhetoric, and let's just move on, guys. It's time. It's going to be up for a vote now in about 6 hours from now, 9 p.m. Eastern. Going up for vote AIP 596. And go ahead.
For 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to do it.
Yep, that's right. Let's throw over to Coco. Coco, I saw you come up. Haven't seen you in a little bit. How you been, man?
I've been hitting the late night spaces, bro. I've been around. Nana will tell you that. I've been. I don't know. My sleeping schedule is just complete degen hours, so I'm usually up pretty late. But I haven't been doing more of the daily spaces, but I've been trenching around in the ApeCoin spaces at night a lot. How's everything going, bro? One thing I want to say is bro, you got the founders showing up. You got them putting out objectives and things that they want to do, and that's the sign of somebody that wants change for the better, right? So, it's that's just man, I've said this a couple times on other spaces recently. I'm a fan of big moves. You gotta shake shit up like that. It's and that means that I think that if they're planning to make some moves, right? Because I think we can all agree that it wasn't really going kind of how we wanted it in the current state, right? So you gotta try stuff. You gotta switch things up, and you gotta go for it. So I'm all for it. I'm voting for it.
It kind of puts and that's huge considering your delegation too. But it kind of puts a fire under everyone's ass when the ApeCoin price is where it's at as well. It's when ApeCoin was $4 or whatever, it's damn, we got a huge treasury. We can totally do some really great things with it, especially amongst the builders in the ecosystem. But now that like when the price of ApeCoin goes down, it gets pretty slim. You know, it kind of makes you nervous of like, yo, the treasury is going to run out.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
So
like,
we gotta drive the price up for ApeCoin in order to enable these newer opportunities.
Exactly. And like, you don't have to sugarcoat around it. You don't have to like sit there and beat around the bush. That's the goal. We want to pump ApeCoin, right? Like, I'm pretty sure everyone in the crowd, you guys, everyone would like that, right? So it takes moves, man. And and that's the reason why I'm super excited about it. And I've been a bit quiet like the past couple months, but I have not been just doing nothing. Like I've got new stuff coming out for ApeChain, and you guys will see that pretty soon.
I actually saw you post.
Yeah. I've been doing a huge build.
Yes,
like it's been like a lot of dev work and stuff. But like I'm weird like that. I turn into like a little silent ninja when I'm cooking.
Yeah, for Ape Express or something else.
Yep, I got two things coming out. So like I like to be kind of secretive about it. So like, yeah, in the next couple weeks, you'll see one of them. And then I have a huge upgrade for Ape Express, coming in the next, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks. I'm doing something that, it hasn't been done before. So we're going to fuck around and find out. So
honestly, I think the first couple of months, first couple of months of Ape Chain are probably the most fun I've had on Ape Chain. Like just when the trenches are kicking, those were good times, man. Let's bring
so I've been kind of analyzing like what Ape Chain is, because every single ecosystem, like you can't look at them all the same, right? Like I'm not looking at I've realized I can't look at Ape Chain the same way I look at Solana, or I can't look at Ape Chain the same way I look at BNB, right? So what I think is like, okay, what's gonna fit the users that are already here, and then what's also gonna onboard people from other chains because they want to try something cool out that's not on their chain, right? So that's kind of like my mindset with the stuff that we've been building. But yeah, I'll do like a space like later on, and we can talk about it when I like announce it and stuff. But I'm just excited for apes, man, and like I'm holding my ape coin tight, and I think that it has a huge future. And like if you look at our ecosystem, man, like it's we got a lot of cool shit, man. Like there's a lot of cool stuff going on, and really cool builders and good people. So I'm just like excited for the future, bro. Like let's go.
Yeah, definitely. And we said earlier too, Coco, about like I guess Garga being around more. I mean, obviously you see Garga now in DMs, you see him on in group chats, you see him on Discord and Twitter Spaces, right? Like he's everywhere. It's actually, I think, one of the things I really missed when during the Allegra era, there's a period where like there's nobody around anywhere. There's just like zero dark 30 type stuff. It was just like you couldn't reach an executive, to comment on anything. So I'm definitely glad to see Garga just being so much more active and just kind of everywhere.
He's the man, bro. He's got good. I always love listening to him talk because like he always has good insight. He's really honest with his thoughts. And that's what you want, right? Like you don't want somebody that's leading the ship that you feel like they're bullshitting you, or like when I listen to him talk, I'm like, nah, man, he's they've got the best intentions, and like what we see from the outside is like a fraction of all the shit they're talking about and trying to cook up, like that's pretty much probably all they do all day long is strategize. Like, okay, what's going to be the next most powerful move, and that's why I don't think I've ever like in the past year I don't think I've been this excited about the future of Ape Chain, So I think it's just onward and upward.
I'll say too, for everyone that joined the stage, we can certainly go around, and I will. But if you want to contribute to the conversation, just jump right in.
Hey,
for sure.
Say less, Nano. What's up, man? Yo, it's been way.
What's up, Mark?
Yo, I just want to say, first off, super stoked on the news. Are you kidding? This is incredible. The DAO was never a good idea. Like that is how ideas go to die. Decision by committee, that has never worked. Like that's the fastest way to kill a good idea is to like share it and have everyone drop their input on it and then just slowly kill it by 1,000 stabs or 1,000 cuts. Like, bro, it's never once worked. I'm so happy we're out of it. Bro, apes, ape chain, the whole ecosystem, NFTs, the whole thing's been down bad for way too long. Like I believed in the community day one. Like there's so much potential here, but this was not it. So like super stoked. Kill DAO, by the way, is an amazing name. Keep these spaces going. And honestly, I fuck with the vibe, bro. I don't care what everyone thinks. I don't want everyone to vote on my fucking ideas, my opinion, my anything, bro. Like, if I believe in something, I'm going to go do it. And I think that's just more of a mentality that we need to adopt because, bro, like, everyone's going to come and give their input and tell me why it's not going to work or tell you this and tell you that. At the end of the day, we just need to believe in ourselves, and then we just need to support each other. So the fact that the DAO is dying, thank God, bro, way too long. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just being negative, but it's just not conducive to creativity. And here's the thing, like, we all talk about, oh, we're all builders, we're all doing this stuff, but we're out here like asking for other people's approval to fundraise, which I think like fundamentally it's a good idea. Like I believed in DAOs too. Like early on, I thought it was a good idea. It's kind of cool. Hey, we're all going to work on this.
I love DAOs.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. But at the end of the day, that shit is slow. It's like trying to move a big ship and trying to like get everyone to agree that we need to change direction. Like that just doesn't work, man. Like I'm so happy it's over, and thanks for hosting this space, man. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I'm not personally myself have, I think, PTSD from AIPs I've done, and I'll never forget the process of those.
Yeah,
having to sacrifice a couple goats along the way, and fucking it just like, yeah, it definitely AIP process. It was rough.
No, and think about all the people that didn't even want to get into it because of how tough it was. Like, there's apparently the DAO or the new ApeCo Foundation is going to take over that and choose what to fund, which has its own set of questions and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I'd rather have one team take responsibility for decisions rather than everyone share the responsibility. And we all know full well that that's not like going to lead anywhere. So good riddance.
Yeah, go ahead, Coco.
Dutchy had his hand up first.
Oh, sorry, Dutchy, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a thought, like kind of not leading to any specifics, but just about being able to move fast in tech, right? The reason, if you look back at early, Bored Ape, the club, it's, fuck it, Mutant Saturday, right? The ability to make decisions very quickly and react to market conditions. I mean, like, sometimes we think we're headed under this meta, and then all of a sudden, the market crashes or something else takes off. And when I've worked in Silicon Valley for quite some time, and, organizations, when they get too large, and they have a lot of process and they need a lot of approvals, they can only move at a certain speed. And then that's why a lot of like smaller startups can just like execute so much faster, because they don't have to go through a lot of process or opinions or vetting and those kinds of things. And what you get out of that is, sometimes people take shots and they don't 100% always hit. But I think, like, for example, I recently did the Mintators event. And I think about if I had gone around the horn and asked for approval for that and asked for buy-in, I don't know how many people would have understood what it is that I was trying to do. And so I just went with it and I ran it and we did it. And then everyone got it after the fact.
And the element of surprise, just that's also a big thing.
Yeah. So I think that, no matter what that is, whether that be like, we saw Yuga kind of get pretty big in organization during the era that it was mentioned earlier, where they just hired the best of the best, and whether they were Web3 native or not, but they just grew to a size that was just massive. And then the executing, there was a lot more planning and, all that kind of stuff, which can be good. But at the same time, in this space, you can see 2-person teams, 5-person teams just dropping stuff back to back to back and moving fast. And that can be very successful. And, you can miss a shot, and we got to give those people grace because they're just human beings. But there is something to be said about corporations that become, multi-billion-dollar companies that there's thousands of people involved and they just cannot make a move fast enough to react to markets. And there's nothing faster in crypto than crypto, right? This space moves at the speed of light, and what feels like, a quarter is actually like a week. So I think there's something to be said about slimming down. And I noticed in their comms, they talk a lot about, speed, being able to act quicker, make decisions faster, those kinds of things. So it's interesting to see the rationale. And I was glad to hear from him the North Star for them in terms of pursuing culture. And you can better understand all the micro moves once you understand the overall big vision.
Yeah, and in this day and age, all you need is an idea and like ChatGPT, bro, or Google VO3 or Gemini or whatever, bro. That's all you need. You see the craziest stuff that people are doing. just by themselves. So totally.
It's the rise of the solopreneur. I agree 100%. What's up, Buzz? I'm like super excited about this opportunity of having ChatGPT, loaded it up, like figure out like some logistics with things, how to stay compliant and certain other things, and create businesses and create opportunities. I think that we all look to the DAO as an ability to fund those opportunities. And so this committee thing was just a way of like, hey, qualifying an idea. And also at the same time, raising awareness of an idea. Is it good enough? Oh, well, that's kind of good. A game show? I don't know. Maybe it could be fun, right? And so we kind of like debated it, and we took it through as a community. When it comes to ApeCo, I don't know if I've seen any protections for builders. And I think that that's my only area of concern, because I agree, nimbleness is key, especially in tech. And I mean, coming from Rug Radio, like we experienced that. Like we couldn't have enough people in order to vote for the changes that we need. We needed quorum. We needed, a certain number of people to be there just to make the changes that we knew we needed to make, and we couldn't make them. And we had to extend out for another month and campaign that, hey, a vote's coming. So I think that this is going to come fast and sharp, and I'm excited about how it's going to give us that nimbleness. But I am concerned about the builder protections. Like, what is it that now? What does this process become now in terms of like how we as builders, go through a process and, do the same things that the DAO facilitated, which is A, funding, but also B, developing of community support.
Right, but ultimately, I think the market decides, though. So, like, we can all debate whether we think it'll work or not, but ultimately, the only way to know for sure is to do it and try it and see how the market responds. So, like, no amount of deliberation or, communicate, like, talking about it is really going to be a good proxy for just trying it and doing it. So, like, there are no protections in real life. You just do it and it works or it doesn't, and then you kind of go from there.
No, I love iteration. I love starting and I love just going. But I think that certain ideas require certain startup funds. Like you need, for me, I need security. I need to make sure that, I get proper audits. I need to make sure that I'm working with the right vendors. And that costs money. They want it up front. Those are businesses. And so, do I have to scale down to try and, prove an MVP? Like, you try the best you can, but we're also working with crypto and working with other people's money. And so to be, fair with that, I think there is some need for startup costs for some projects.
Yo, Coco, I saw your hand up. Yeah. And then we'll go to Proof of Alpha and then Derek.
Shit, man, there's builder protections, bro. I wish someone would have told me that with all the shit I'm trying to do. Fuck. No, I'm just messing.
I knew you were going to pick up on that, Coco. I just knew it.
No, okay, so like, no, I totally get what he means, right? Like, you want there needs to be like a pool. Most chains do have obviously that. That basically that fund that goes towards projects and stuff. And I've been on many chains and built stuff on different chains. And I guess one of the things that I would say is that makes the thing that I'm more excited about out of all of this is, and it's kind of weird because it comes back to the optics, right? So when I think about whether we like it or not, like what does a DAO cause? Let's think about that for a second. And I said this like a couple days ago or yesterday, is like, you guys got to remember, like, we know our ecosystem, we know each other, we know the apes, like everyone kind of is friendly. We're very tapped in, right? But when people come to our ecosystem and see a bunch of guys arguing, like they don't have all the logistics or they don't have all the context of what's going on. So I just think like less of that will actually improve sentiment and help onboard more people into the ecosystem, right? Like, because whether you like it or not, like if you're super passionate about some AIP that you put up, and then it gets shut down, or there's somebody that's completely against you, and then, two people in the same ecosystem start arguing on the timeline, like to an average onlooker or like a lurker, somebody that doesn't say anything, that causes you to not have a good sentiment towards the overall ecosystem, right? So like, I'm ready to get rid of all that shit, right? Like I'm ready to be like, we're the fucking apes, shut the fuck up and send it, let's go. You know what I mean? Like that's my mindset, right? Like, I don't know. That's just kind of like the way that I look at it is like, yes, of course, I'm actually the type of person for this move that I lose a little bit of power because I have a big delegation, right? So like, it's not like beneficial for certain things, but I know it's beneficial for my coins long term, right? Like, because all of this stuff, if we want to bring new investors into ApeCoin, like they're going to look at these kind of things, and people look for signals, right? They look for like, okay, well, what's a bullish signal? Okay, that's a bull flag. Oh shit, Yuga's basically taking over, and like it's going to be streamlined and center focused. that's bullish. Oh shit, look at the price. Damn, that's undervalued. Like just the simple math that people do in their head, this will lead to better sentiment, in my opinion, as we go into a really nice part of the market, I believe, So yeah, I guess that's just my thoughts, Optics, I think, are going to be really good.
Alpha, jump in.
Yeah, 100%. I just wanted to say that I'm not here for any content at all. I'm just here to farm. No, I'm just kidding. So I'm pretty sure we all agree that, this is going to pass, right? Most of us are adults in the room and we know this is going to pass. This is what we've been asking for. Now we got it. So be careful what you ask for. You just might get it, right? And so now we think where we're going to go next. What's, sustainability paneling out 5 years, 10 years. I heard somebody ask about 2 years, 3 years. Let's go 2, 5, and 10. So, all right. So now you talking about a perpetual other side, something that's going to be like one big pool on that ape chain or ape coin economy, just servicing it, right? It's expensive to run your shit perpetually. So I would suggest, and I'm not the consummate professional here, but I would suggest, as we welcome the other communities into the other side and they get their commerce going on the other side, that we incentivize them to transact, of course, in ApeCoin, and then they have some type of, and I've said this before, so if you heard this before, just close your ears, motherfuckers. But they have some type of a monthly or some type of residual maintenance fee that would help to toll the weight and toll the bill for the perpetual other side, so we don't look up and say, oh shit, we didn't factor this in, and this is eating a chunk of what our DAO has brought, or the Ape Co has brought back in, and we're spending it all on perpetual other side. So I think something like that, those type of incentives would actually help out and put back into the economy and make it self-subsisting and help with sustainability. I land my plane.
Can I fire back on that one?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that that's already built in a way that doesn't need to be said, and in a way that, it's confirmed that on day one, it's going to be powered by ApeCoin. And, if you think about the amount of things that are going to happen in game, whether that be, poker, minting, he talked about launching tokens, ERCs in game, competitions, the wearables market, if they're trying to go after something like the way some of the biggest games on earth have made billions of dollars, right? And so if that's all powered in the in-game currency is ApeCoin or whatever it will be called in the future, then that in itself wouldn't shock me if all those mechanisms pulled a transaction fee across the entire platform, right? And so I think that in itself inherently is a tax, right? And so whether they decide to hold it in mass or whatever they, even if burning mechanism, who knows? We've seen clutch markets create, the only deflationary mechanism on Ape Chain because they burn ApeCoin. So there's certainly ways that they can apply that tax. And so if everyone, you have your community and you're trying to build on your land, and now you want to boost visibility. And so I don't know, I can't confirm this for sure, but I would imagine with 100,000 lands, you need some sort of mechanism to boost visibility of like where this party is at right now, right? This active land activation, right? So, paying an ApeCoin to do so, or whether that be land resources, popping up a store to be able to sell wearables. We've even seen like renting land. There's all types of, I would say, sub economies that will fall under that. And if all those take a tax, as you mentioned, in ApeCoin, then they don't need a monthly fee, is what I'm saying. Is if everything you do requires ApeCoin, then that means that every single community in that metaverse will be buying ApeCoin and needing ApeCoin in order to boost the visibility. And so then the flywheel on that most likely is that if you have popularity on your land, and we see this with websites, social platforms like whether that be Spotify or YouTube, they pay people who make great content and attract users to spend a long time. Generally, the approach there is to reward the best lands that have the most foot traffic and keep people there the longest. So then there'll be some flow back to those people who are, attracting people to spend time in other side. And so that's why they would want to invest in boosting, visibility of their land and participating in all those mechanisms. So yes, there's a tax, and then there's an ability to earn, and that's why you would invest more money into being able to make more money. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, I don't think we need to charge rent like landlords.
It helps, but at the same time, you have a difference in commerce and individual commerce and commercial commerce. When you start talking about individuals playing poker, that's one thing. When you talk about a company that comes in and they set up a revenue base or a revenue model on your land or in the other side, then you have a bigger pool and you have a bigger weight division right there. So just regular DJing, and I get it. But then when you have somebody that's actually, let's say Nike decided to come back and say, hey, you know what, we messed up with the artifact thing, we want to come back. And they come back and they shut up a land or whatever that looks like. Then you're talking about a different demographic of maintenance, if you will. So just ideas, and I know they all ideas. We punch holes in them until we get them perfect, and then we throw them in the oven and bake them. And so that's what I want to bring that as a little bit of a pushback to say you have two different types of engagements. And if you commercial is definitely different from individual. And lastly, when people are spending or transacting whatever they do in their currency, just like when you shop anywhere now, you have different forms of payment. You can't only just go in there and spend cash. You can go in there and spend like 8 or 9 different types of current, or pull from different areas, I should say. So when we start talking about Ape Chain or an Ape Coin, I think it would be foolish for us to limit to all the transactions being made in only Ape Coin in the other side. Even though that's ours, it's our flagship, it's our thing, it's our currency. I think if you still have other forms that are kind of like hidden a little bit, you know how sometimes it's harder to find the crypto payment button when you're going through your cards and stuff. You say, well, where's the crypto button? Oh, there it is, it's hidden. So if it's de-incentivized a little bit or discouraged a little bit more, it still would be good to have other forms of currency accepted. So that's to be seen going forward, and it's definitely day one, but I would say hopefully, and you're probably on the board anyway. We know how you are. You're behind every fucking thing that happens in the system now that we finding out. But hopefully we have other forms of payment as well. I land my plane.
Well, there are some infrastructure that's already put in place right now where we can already see, like, for example, if you've seen Clutch Market, they're doing like Solana futures. And so people are buying on Solana, but they're actually buying ApeCoin and they don't realize it. There's also things like Relay, in which you can say, hey, here's all your, and even with the recent announcement with, we know that with Glyph, we're going to allow people to pay in either Apple ID or in any debit card form in 75 seconds or less, up to $500 with no KYC. But also in terms of currencies, you've seen Magic Eden incorporate, a relay swap where you just say, hey, I have BTC or I have this, but it's denominated in ApeCoin. And the moment you hit buy, it swaps on the back end, and that's abstracted away from the user. So I think that is like a nuance that doesn't really matter to the user as long as they don't have to do any swapping and they click buy and they have BTC or they have Solana or they will accept multiple currencies. But the Glyph, the Stripe, all those kind of integrations goes to show that doesn't matter, and that in the back end they will be buying ApeCoin, but they just won't realize it.
Touche, my boy. Thank you for that.
I mean, I want to just tie it back into something that Garga had mentioned a little bit earlier about, killer apps and just ideas you'd like to see. And, there was an example of like even running around as Sonic collecting ERC-20s, and there could be, I would imagine if I'm hosting some sort of experience and, there's a real, great ERC20 that's on Ape Chain, like, cool, I can make an entire experience out of that. So it could actually encourage more ERC20s to be utilized on Ape Chain because the rails are there. And so feel free to jump in because I definitely thought of you.
Yeah, I actually think that I actually have a completely different perspective. I think that we need to do everything we can to capture liquidity and keep it on Ape Chain. It's such a competitive market right now that if you're going to be on Ape Chain, you can use the currency. That's the way that I look at it, right? And there is infrastructure out there. There's stuff that basically it makes it super easy to grab any asset and turn it into, and that by design will actually help our price, right? Like if guys are coming over and they have to use ApeCoin, like to me that's more important than giving people the flexibility of what currency they want to use, because like you want the experience, you want to come over and join this ecosystem, then go grab the ApeCoin, right? Like so you got a little bit of Ethereum, turn it into ApeCoin, because then you can do all of these kind of things. It doesn't really matter, because if you don't care about bolstering the native token, then what's the whole point of the chain, right? Like what's the point of even having a token, right? Because at the end of the day, we get judged by the token, and we get judged by how much token velocity it has, how much liquidity is being, dragged from other ecosystems and all that kind of stuff. So like, I think that needs to be a center focus, in my opinion, to capture liquidity from other chains and bring it and turn it into ApeCoin, because all good things are going to happen from that. So I think it's a very simple formula, especially if you're building, and that's why they would do a move like, say, hey, ApeCoin's going to be what runs the ecosystem. Is we want to capture all that outside liquidity.
Yeah, I would say incentives, not mandates, because with the mandates, then you kind of, people in crypto, they quick to turn away and run away. I would at least let them get in there and get their feet wet and incentivize it, rather than just mandating it, because mandating it, it's just like saying you Bitcoin or not Bitcoin. I mean, I don't know.
Well, think about the biggest dApps on other chains. Do they make you use the coin of the chain? And if it's another coin from another chain, it's going to be, I don't know, Ethereum on Solana, or like you have to use that. That's why these chains have native dexes, right? Because that's the asset, that's the base pair. We need to bolster that, because that's what's, like, at the end of the day, that's what's going to give us sustainability. If everyone's just coming in and they don't really need to use our asset on the first jump, then why does it matter where they're at, right? And we already have the stuff that's going to make it so anybody can come over and, they can log in with social login, account abstraction, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, you still do need that liquidity flow into Ape. We need to channel it. There needs to be all roads lead to Ape, for all, like, everything.
We definitely agree with that.
That's, I don't know. Experiences, though, right? Yeah. It's like the products and experiences like the other side. That's why the focus is great launching, the chain, as you said.
Did Minty cut out for anyone else?
I thought it was just me.
Yeah, I think it dropped.
All right, Minty, go ahead and round trip. Let's say what's up to Derek. What's up, Derek?
Hey, guys. Coco and Minty and a bunch of other guys have already touched on everything I want to talk about. But I just want to say, the one thing that I think a bunch of people are missing, well, not us who are involved in the DAO and, who show up every day, but people on the outside looking in who never actually participated in the DAO. I think what they're missing, with this moving from the DAO to ApeCo, is they're missing the community aspect. For what it was, say what you will, the DAO had a specific function for the community, whether it's on Discord or Discourse. You can see the same people running around. There's a lot of discourse going back and forth. But I think, we could have. It's difficult for me to say this because, I agree that the DAO needed to change. I'm just not. I think that we had a lot of opportunities to actually fix everything that ApeCo is now going to fix. We in the DAO, and those of us who paid attention, wrote the AIPs and all this stuff, no matter how much we fought with the special counsel, we fuss and fight with them, the facilitators. I mean, we had the opportunity to fix this. It was only just one thing. All we needed to do was to fix the voting. If we had fixed the voting and made it one ape, one vote, we would not be here. And a lot of us tried to, fought that battle. A lot of us didn't win that battle, and it never went anywhere. That's all it would have taken. And we would have preserved the DAO. We would have had more controls. We would have had We would have, had more people involved, because a lot of people who didn't want to get involved didn't want to do so because they figured that anybody in with a lot of ape could just do what they want, vote what AIPs they wanted, and they didn't like that, so they never participated. I mean, I don't get me wrong, I support the ApeCo, the move to ApeCo, but at the end of the day, we are going to lose what made the DAO community what it was. And one last thing, I know this is going to be a sore subject, but if I don't say something, then it wouldn't be me. One thing that I've noticed that I really think a lot of people need to pay attention to, and I think it's unfair. First of all, you guys know me. I fight with everybody like literally every day in our DAO. We argue from one thing to the next. I have friends, I have haters, I have people I agree with, I have people I disagree with. But at the end of the day, it's a community. That happens. We fuss and fight and whatever. One thing that I do not like, and which I'm seeing, is that all of a sudden, because Hugo steps in and says, hey, we're going to take control, we're going to shut the DAO down, we're going to start a new thing, we're going to make it a corporation, blah, blah, blah. Now, everyone seems to think, or the opinion that the DAO failed because of the people who ran it, whether it's a special counsel, whether it's the facilitators, whether it's a working group, and that's wrong. The DAO didn't fail because of what anybody did. Those guys worked with what they had, and they had no power to change anything. The DAO had the power to change everything, the DAO being us. The DAO had the power to take the steps that were needed. Every single thing in IPCO was already in the DAO and could have been done in the DAO if people had focused. So this whole thing about, everyone's rejoicing, people who were never in the DAO for like 5 minutes, didn't even know what the hell is going on, all of a sudden have an opinion on how IPCO is going to be great, even though most of us know what would have made it work, what didn't work, and we could have fixed it. We just didn't fix it. But now all of a sudden, everyone seems to think that it's the management and the DAO's fault, and that's not true. And it's just not right. I fight with those guys all the time. You guys seen my AIPs. You guys seen my posts. There's no love lost between myself and the special counsel or the facilitators. I mean, I've been banned twice on Discourse. Go figure. Or even the working groups. But it's just not right. Now all of a sudden, now those guys look like they're pariah. It was all their fault, and it's just not. And I need you guys to just understand that. I need people to say, well, you know what? The DAO didn't work because it was all our fault collectively. It wasn't the special counsel. It wasn't the facilitators. It wasn't the working groups. It wasn't any one thing. So now we're going to go to APCO. Everything's going to be siloed. Everyone's rejoicing about the unknown, forgetting the fact that the DAO, for what it was based on a community. All that's going to be gone. Anybody who thinks that community is based on X hasn't been paying attention. And one last thing, let me just land the plane by saying, everybody knows this. Coca knows this. Frosty knows this. Nova knows it. Every single builder that the DAO produced who actually took money and showed what they did with the money, we all know. And we've had this cry since day one. If we don't grow this ecosystem, ApeCo is going to do anything the DAO couldn't have done. It will just be taking money from one pot, putting it in another pot until the third pot gets empty. So it needs to grow. The name Ape Chain doesn't really matter. I don't think there should be any continuous changing and whatnot. But Coco is right. A bunch of people are right. If ApeCo becomes what the DAO should have done, then the ecosystem needs to focus on Ape Chain, needs to focus on the token, and dApps on there need to create incentives for the dApps going on there. But the token has to be the focus of Ape Chain. Because if you allow any other currency, even with or without incentives, you're going to continue. We're going to be right here again because everything's going to be diluted, and that's not a way forward. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for letting me speak.
Can I tap in on that?
I'll just maybe reply to that, because I mean, there's definitely, I think, some good nuggets in there. Derek, and I appreciate you stating your opinion. I think the DAO didn't really collapse. Like, it didn't, it's still there, right? But like, it just became too slow, right? Like, it's slow, it's political, it's noisy, it's just like an unfocused machine that just like keeps grinding and grinding, right? Like, doesn't really produce any real innovation. The current structure is just too bloated. Things take too long. Even like to make a change to ApeCo, to do it the DAO way, would have taken forever. You have to put up AIP after AIP and deal with special counsel, holding things up. And it just, DAO's not designed for a fast moving ecosystem like crypto, in my opinion. And I think, like it's just not, not optimal structurally. So I do think, like, the DAO have good intentions, and I do think, there's a lot of capital deployed to a lot of really good builders that produce cool stuff. But at the end of the day, like, the system was just not designed to succeed from the very get-go. And yeah, it's time for a change, in my opinion. Let's go to Alpha. Go ahead, Alpha.
I just wanted to make 2 points from the outside looking in. I wasn't a part of DAO. I wasn't a part of any of that. But let me tell you why. Some of us were here the whole time while all this was going down, but we didn't want to say shit because it was too much crying and bitching and bickering every time when the space is going, 2 people going and they can't get past one issue to get to the next issue to get that, And so I always stayed silent. I always just said, you know what, I'll leave my presence in the space just to show support for the community, but I didn't even listen. I just put it down and go and do something else. That's number one. The second thing is, like, when you go to ApeCo, you're thinking about changing the guard, right? So ApeCo is either company or corporation, one of the two, hopefully. But when you go inside a company in the real world, or out in, when we close these computers down and we go inside a company, we don't have a say so in what they're doing. We just have to see if we're going to patronize what they're offering. And that's kind of like what I feel like the changing of the guard feels like, which I'm with that, because if we stay stagnant with everybody, with the prior guard that we had, and I take my hat off to everybody who was involved, because it took a lot to do that. And in whatever capacity that was. But if we stay stagnant with the same type of energy, then we never go anywhere. And Insanity is doing the same thing and trying to look for different results. So I think this new energy, and we've always been saying, hey man, all the founders got to do is just come online and just say fuck it. And guess what? We throw a party and we go crazy. Well, he said fuck it. And I think at a good point, because it's time for some change. Because other than that, we just kind of lethargically just hanging out, doing the same thing, looking for different results. I land my plane.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, a couple of other things I think maybe worth mentioning here, right? I think one is, like, the DAO was a pretty niche community. It was like 100 of us, who were, basically, like, talking among back and forth between each other. There was, like, no new people entering the DAO over, like, the 3-year period it was around. So super niche community, right? So that's, I think, definitely, like, one of the biggest things. I don't think, like, the DAO really grew the pie that much of the community. It was just like a small community from the very start, and, like, it fluctuated over time. I think the second part, it was like, it wasn't very democratic. Like, there was, like, 2 big voters. I think it was, like, Milkiverse and, like, one other voter. I think at one point it was Machi, and there's, like, there was different Machi throughout the DAO's cycle that would come in and, like, just kill AIPs with a single vote. There's, like, 2 or 3 voters every time that's controlled every single vote of every single AIP outcome. Like, that was probably the hardest part. It, like, wasn't really that decentralized. There's, like, 2 or 3 people that would decide every single vote. Right. Like, so I don't think the system was really designed for success from the very beginning.
Yeah, that's true, though. But one of the things, Nova, I mean, I agree with all of that. But one of the things that, I've always said is that everything that the DAO, all the processes the DAO had came from AIP 1 and 2. And the special counsel, the facilitators, the working groups, everybody adhered to that. The thing is, like every corporation, you build a process, it doesn't work, you pivot to something else. You build a product, it doesn't work, you pivot to something else. Every single thing that was in the DAO that was wrong. I mean, I think I wrote the more AIPs than anybody in the DAO ever. I mean, I checked that. And if you go back and look at on Discourse and just pull up my profile, look at all the AIPs, you will see that I meticulously went line by line by line, figured every single thing that I thought would work because of the pivot. For instance, things, AIPs take too long. Sorry, I'll land the plane in a second. AIP's taking too long. We can fix that. And AIP was there to fix that. Stuff takes too long in admin review. There was an AIP to fix that. Every single thing that made the DAO lethargic could have been fixed, but we couldn't fix it because we couldn't get to vote on it.
Exactly.
Sorry,
go ahead, Nova.
I was going to ask you, Derek. You said that you had the most AIPs. How many were passed? Like, how many total, and how many were passed?
One. One, AIP 466. One, only one. In fact, 3 didn't go to votes. The other ones were language in admin review. I just sent the facilitators an email saying, you know what, just fuck it, just pull them because it wasn't going anywhere. I mean, lots of admin, and I'm not the only one. A lot of the AIPs get stuck in admin review for whatever reason. Some of them get sent back for reconstruction because we misinterpreted, AIP 1 or the procedure, the rules and whatever. But, this is part of what Nova was talking about. Sometimes things take too long or things don't work right. And then when you try to fix it, you can't because then you hit all these roadblocks. Now, IPCO is going to fix all that, but it's going to take it away from the community. It's no longer going to be in the hands of the DAO. It's going to be in the hands of 5 or 6 people. I think, as good as that may be, it's going to end up losing the culture of what made the DAO. Even if it was 100 people or 50 people, it was 100 or 50 people who participated that made all this noise. So now it's going to be on X, it's going to be on Discord, it's going to be, I don't know what Yuga plans to do with IPCO, but my concern is that as dysfunctional as the DAO was, it had a whole bunch of voices. And where those voices going to go now? How are they going to participate? How are they going to make a difference? A DAO does that. A DAO is funding all these things that small guys, 10K here, 5K here, 2K here, Fancape, one of the besides Nova and Frosty and Coca and all the guys we know. I mean, Fancape was one of the best things that came out of the DAO. That's gone. They're not going to get funded. APCO says they could fund them and whatever. But the point I'm making is the DAO put out a whole bunch of good things, and I don't see how we're going to get that opportunity again through a corporate structure like IPCO. And that's what I think people need to be focused on. It's a good idea, but I think we lose something in that sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, I view APCO. I mean, first of all, I think APCO structure is, I think, probably worth discussing here. Garga did say it'll be a public benefit corporation, most likely. So for those of you who are not aware, essentially it's like, a for-profit company that's legally obligated to pursue a specific social or public good. So I just still expect APCO to, be able to invest in the ecosystem, be able to support builders. You might see some grants, you might see some, like investments for exchange for equity or, tokens or a combination of both. But I still expect them to support builders in the ecosystem, I think. Alpha, go ahead, jump in here. I don't know if Alpha still has
It's all good. Alpha.
Oh, no, I didn't have my hand up. I might have get stuck up, but I didn't have my hand up.
Okay, it's like permanently up. Okay.
Giant joined us on the stage earlier with Garga. I want to have an opportunity to say what's up to Giant. Welcome to Kill DAO Volume 1. I know you DM me letting us know you had a question for Garga. I'm sorry we weren't able to get to it. Perhaps you can kind of ask here or open it up to the group. Can anyone hear
him? No, I can't hear him.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
Yes.
What's up, Giant?
Okay. Thanks for having me on, Nana. And yeah, man, I didn't want to interrupt the conversation earlier. It was, I wanted to hear it too. I'm not very technical. I honestly got inspired by apes. I got an ape. I'm 21. I've been an ape for 6 months. Always wanted to be one. And I really like metaverse experiences. Mainly got it because of, I want to be on other side, on Ape Chain. And, all my friends are apes. And I wanted to see if I will be able to play it with a VPN on, because I live in Lebanon. It's crypto is, not crypto, but usually most of the games are restricted in my country. But other games, I can play them with a VPN on. Other side, it wasn't the same. I couldn't play it at all. So I had this question for Garga to see if I will be able to play it in the future, or I will be able to access it somehow, because I love building experiences. I've played on multiple games like Nifty Islands, building islands.
Yeah. And so I might be able to shed some light on that. So first of all, I think global coverage from Square Network is always expanding. So they are adding more and more geographies as they scale their network. So that's the first thing. Second thing is other side is going to be Pixel Stream, but also there'll be a local client as well, right? Pixel Streaming has less global coverage than the local client does, because it requires a lot less bandwidth to just run it locally than to Pixel Stream. So you should be able to just download other side directly to your computer and just run the game locally on your device. So I think with that, like, it should be hopefully available everywhere, not just like certain countries.
I had this similar experience with multiple, like Nifty Island was a similar problem, but I had it downloaded locally and everything, but I think the problem is the country, being restricted from crypto and stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's what.
Is Lebanon on the restricted countries list? Could that be why? I'm just not familiar.
I'm not sure, because some games I can play them, some games I can't. Some websites I can access them, some websites I can't. Bored Ape website, I think I need a VPN as well. But yeah, thanks for having me and letting me ask this here. I heard a little bit about AI. It goes so far beyond ChatGPT with automations and so many websites and tools to use. So if anyone want to get know more about that, I've been focusing on that for a long time now. I'd love to help anyone that are interested. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, Giant. Thank you. Yo, let's say what's up. I'm Frosties. Are you with us today? How you doing, man? Oh yeah, I see the emoji.
He's your farming engagement.
I invited
followers.
I invited Frosties up, man. For those that don't know, Frosties recently launched Ape Control and is really focused on really bringing the ecosystem, the different dApps, and creating some new experiences with a streaming platform where we just saw Tropical Virtual just 2 days ago stream the ODK, the Other Side Development Kit, and one of the worlds that he was building out from the Sky Deed. And what was so cool about jumping into Ape Control to watch the Tropical stream was there was on-chain tipping using ApeChain, which was so cool to see the community jump in there, show their support, was able to ask questions with Tropical, and I think it really inspired people, including myself, to apply to stream on that platform. And shortly after, as I'm like gonna dish off certain feedback for Frosties, I see him post an update like 30 minutes after the stream ends with like some updates that I was going to deliver feedback on. This guy stays shipping. Frosties, I know it's probably super late where you are, but if you have an opportunity to unmute and say what's up, please do. All right. He probably doesn't have a mic.
Busy.
He probably doesn't have a mic right now. But y'all should follow Frosties. He's been a day one Other Space FM community member supporter. So definitely I have him on notice, man. That's how I got the alpha for the Fade NFTs, which are offering utility for that platform. But I can't put up Frosties enough. He's just such a valuable builder in the space.
Frosties goes hard, dude. We know and understand the love, and it's so interesting to watch how his building is coming to fruition, right? These things that like we're able to have contact with and engage with. I was blown away by Ape Control. I had no idea he was building it. I thought, I was kind of still in Fade with him, but then I was like, oh, he's building this. Amazing. I had like no idea. I had to like look into it, and it's great. It's amazing. I'm just like, this is a really interesting way of engaging the entire ecosystem. So really, tip of the hat, sir.
Yeah. Yo, I'm gonna as soon as Other Side Wiki is launched, which he's revamping it, which is also, got support from the ApeCoin DAO and AIP. Other Side Wiki is going to be revamped, and I'll be doing a deep dive on Ape Control, on just helping people shop for a deed and use the tool that he's building, because I am so curious to just see what all the changes are and help give context to helping people make more informed decisions when it comes to any sort of shopping or purchasing anything Other Side related. So super stoked for that. Thank you, Frosties, for approving me as a streamer. I'm looking forward to jumping in there. Yo,
And Frosty did DM me saying that he has no microphone right now because he's on desktop.
got it. All right.
Which I respond, you know, if he wants to start a tipping jar of Frosties, we'll gladly contribute to it to buy you a mic.
Well, I did invite him up, so you know how finicky desktop is. By the way, you know, Elon did post something about having a native X app on at least Mac OS, and is hiring for like Swift developers. So I'm looking forward to that, you know, because desktop and spaces, they just don't go well together. So I'm looking forward to you know, revamped native app for X on the desktop. Let's see. Machiavelli, what's up, my man?
Very fine guy Elon is. Yes, very fine. Yo, what's up, guys? Listen.
What's up, dude?
Listen, and I don't want to say, listen, this isn't about anybody particular or anything like that, but like, you know, the DAO's had a certain amount of time to do things, and like just from a spectator looking on the outside in, like there needs just to be some kind of freshness or life brought into the ecosystem. There needs to be a hardcore change that speeds things up. And there's been a lot of opportunity and a lot of whatever. Nobody could band together to get the things passed or whatever. I don't know what the whole deal is, and it's none of my business. But what is my business is that this whole ecosystem is evolving, and it needs to evolve rapidly because the community expands outside of the DAO now with the Ape Chain. And there needs to be some type of like, you know, ApeCo or whatever it is that is going to do that. And like, that's what I want to support. I want to support that new energy. But most importantly, I want to get rid of all that old energy that's kept people away from the DAO. And I want to get rid of all that bickering and all that energy that's lived within this ecosystem that hasn't helped evolve and push this brand forward. That's what I want to vote for. That's what I want to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to see that evolution. And, you know, with the Bathroom Blitz coming and other deeds going live in December and stuff like that, like, there needs to be a unification across the fronts and the way that we all market, the way that we do things and push to other platforms and stuff like that, because this is a huge deal. You know what I'm saying? And we have the largest fucking marketing team in the world when it comes to this chain, to this brand, to everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're the best representatives of that. So I just want to see that change. I want to see that growth. And I think that, you know, banding together and unifying will help accelerate that versus anything else.
Let's go, Mark. You know, you bring up a good point too. I mean, it's not, before there was just such a push on getting people to participate in the DAO and the process. Whereas we just need to participate in these experiences, because that's in turn going to grow Ape Chain and ApeCoin. So I think it is much harder to kind of foster more participation and grow, you know, your contributions in the DAO than it is to participate in all the cool things that are happening on Ape Chain. And so I see that growing. Just being a way for people to get involved much easier than having to put up with any sort of, you know, involvement with actual governance. So I still think it's going to be important to have ways and a strategy.
So fun, no. Governance is so fun. That's what I'm going to do with my other side, dude. I'm just going to create long lines. You have to get in long lines in order to vote on things that are just really, really random. And, you know, then I'm just going to have a whale come in and to counteract your vote.
Yeah. I don't want to bash it too hard, but you know, I think that's also the energy, you know, that I felt, where I'm like fucking burnt out on all these things, like election season happening. Like, kudos to everyone who's sticking their neck out, but at the same time, like I'd rather just, you know, as Dort says, ApeCo is ApeGo. Let's go, baby. Yo, what's up, MM?
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm actually the use case for you right now because I'm on a PC, on Spaces, been talking to Frosties on the DM. So yeah, I'm everything that you need right now. We just got approved too for Ape Central, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Control. I don't even know yet. Is it Central or Control?
Ape Control.
Control. Like the control button. Yeah, so we'll see. I need to spin up my rig and try to start streaming.
Let's
I got some
go.
stuff to show. It'll be cool.
Yeah, excited, man. You've been making some moves, and I think it's also a really great way to tap into, what we were talking about of supporting builders. He's doing Ape Control almost like on the side. It's a project, and for the community to show up like this and showcase how it can offer value to other creators and people that are in the ecosystem. I think it's great when people are starting to connect the dots amongst all the different tools. Dutchy knows a little something about that. Yo, I want to say what's up to the homie Cram. What's up, Cram?
Yo, what's good, Donna? It's good, man.
Man, doing all right. What's your take?
It's been a minute. Yeah, no, so I appreciate you setting up this space. And from what I understood, you guys had Garga on earlier. I've been kind of busy with other stuff, so I didn't get a chance to listen. I'll probably listen back to the recording, but I know you asked Garga about like what happens to the funds that essentially were like stolen from the DAO. And they never built anything. What was Garga's take on that question?
I don't know if he really had a take. I think he kind of says, it's just like I think they'll try to maybe get the funds back, but ultimately it's hard because the DAO is a Cayman Island entity, right? So in order to, I guess, sue anybody, you first have to, go to Cayman courts and get a judgment, there, and then take that judgment to a foreign country where the person that, got the funds resides and try to get the judgment enforced there, And depending on where the person is, I mean, if it's like US, for example, it might be easier if they're like in Dubai or somewhere else, good luck, probably not going to be enforced in Dubai courts. But yeah, it's just a long and very expensive and complicated process to do that. So chances are, we're probably not going to see anybody get clawbacks. At least that's what I think.
What do you all think about would that be any different? That was kind of my question for Garga, or at least I was trying to get at how would how would it be different with ApeCo when it comes to accountability? I would think, based on milestone delivery, the amount of support that they're going to give any particular builder or platform that is being funded, the negotiations for if there is a TGE for a protocol or something that's launching, that there's negotiations for the community for allocation. I would imagine, especially milestone based funding, and then also the ability to claw back with ApeCo could actually be more efficient.
Milestones and having a position that audits. I mean, that's what happens, in the entertainment business. It's just when I do projects, the unions, they audit, they just it's not they must have done something wrong. It's just this is the course of business. End of the year. Hey, what did you guys do? Let's take a look at the books. It's transparency so that they can understand, oh, great, all our members got paid, etc. I think that same level of accountability needs to be had here.
Anything you do in the Web 2 market or business structure needs to be just copied on chain, period. So any way to hold liability, all of those things just need to, however we need to put in that smart contract that's going to hold the other party accountable, and that either that signature with the wallet or they signed documents or whatever it is that they signed, that they accepted that liability needs to be held accountable. That's it. That's really what it boils down to, is that we're able to hold accountability with said signatures and agreements, whether verbally, contractually, online, on chain, all of that. That's really what just needs to happen.
Big Dutch, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, I think, clawbacks are difficult, for the reasons you mentioned. Audits are important to know sort of when was the last follow-up, right? Which we started to see a little bit most recently, where they would kind of double tap on AIPs that had no, response, right? In a large amount of time. And I think that the other part that you can add to that list of ways to kind of mitigate that is applications for future funding, right? So, if members of a certain AIP or whatever it is funding, if it's a small grant or something like that, if you haven't delivered on the previous, then there's a little bit of I guess digital reputation that follows you as well, and that may help. It may not get the money back, so to speak, but it may prevent sort of a constant.
We put it on their permanent record. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I think just having a record of kind of who the parties didn't follow through with their promises from the previous structure could inform maybe who when those applications come in, then you're like, okay, well, these people had pitched this XYZ and it's been this amount of allotted time and this is what was delivered with just an analysis of ROI, right? And so if that ROI tends to be zero, well, then that should factor into decision making for future funding.
What we could do? If we can't get the funds back, what we do is we make a list of all the authors that didn't build anything, and then we go to Ethos and just have hundreds of apes, give each person negative review on there, and just kill their social credit score on there. At least a little bit public shaming.
Black Mirror in effect. Let's go.
Yeah.
Changing their metadata on there.
Yeah. It's all on chain. Like those reviews are on chain, it's going to be there forever.
Yeah. No, this is.
So not
go ahead, Cram.
Kind of like follow up on this. So, I love that Garga's getting involved, like with the DAO, because I feel like the DAO has been something it's been like a anchor holding down the ecosystem. That's what it felt like for me. I've been here since September 21. And the moment, ApeCoin came out and then the DAO came out, like those funds, I'm seeing a lot of outflows, but I've never seen any inflows. I think there's a few months of some good inflows, but it just seems like we're just losing money. And, but you guys see any like potential pitfalls, like with ApeCo, based off of what Garga's touched on? Because I haven't heard Garga speak on it a ton. I know he's doing a lot of spaces, but like any issues that we're having now with the DAO, could that technically still happen with ApeCo? What are you guys thinking? Just based off of his responses.
So like issues as far as what? I'm sorry, can you just elaborate there?
Well, just I guess in general, because I haven't heard him speak super deep on ApeCo. I think I was on I listed one of his spaces, but I'm just trying to I guess if you guys can give me the TLDR, how is it different?
I guess let me just be a company, and it's going to be run as like a for-profit company now, right? There won't be any voting or community input. There's just going to be a small group of people that make decisions based on what they believe is best for the ecosystem, right? So probably a lot faster decision making. Probably contracts that are structured to give value back to the community / ecosystem, whether that's equity, whether that's tokens, whether that's other ways to contribute. Milestone. I'm guessing probably going to be like milestone-based payments now for agreements where you won't get the funds up front anymore like you used to. And yeah, I'm guessing ApeCo will be a U.S.-based company, unlike the previous DAO was a Cayman Island entity. So U.S. courts are I would say much more reputable than the Cayman courts. So getting into U.S. judgment enforced somewhere else in the world is easier than the Cayman Island judgment, at least from best of my knowledge. But basically it'd be just a for-profit company that's going to be essentially making decisions based on what they believe is best. There won't be like any more AIPs or voting or any of that.
Hey, also we'll get to these couple of hands. Gonna wind this space down. Just so you all know, and we got Bored Ape Gazette that should be following up with their show that's starting at the top of the hour. I know a lot of you are fresh out of the Grateful show, so appreciate y'all joining today's episode. Let's check in with Ernest. We'll go with Dutchy, and then Nova, I'm going to circle it to you for some, landing thoughts.
Yeah, I just had a comment on the whole thing about the foundation not being able to enforce contracts because it's located in Caymans. That's not true. Forum selection clauses are common in all the agreements, and certainly there's a mechanism by which we could enforce agreements in the DAO. The second thing I wanted to say is that this is great. Everyone has been talking for the last couple of weeks about ApeCo and the ApeCoin DAO and what's the best thing for governance and what we should be doing. But I think in answer to the previous question, what are we losing? We're losing all of this. We're losing all of this community involvement and governance. These will be the last spaces we talk about what ApeCo should and shouldn't be doing with any authority. And I think that's something that we need to think about. And that's the two things. And then defending the ApeCoin DAO. The DAO has been slow, but the DAO has been slow over the last 4 months because the foundation hasn't done the things that AIP, the revamp AIP put in place for the voting. And so voting would have been a lot faster if the revamp AIP would have been implemented. I mean, we're talking 30 days from proposal to vote and immediate implementation. And so now we can say, the DAO has been slow and there's admin review. Well, we got rid of admin review with the revamp AIP, and we would have had on-chain voting where stuff was proposed on April 1st, and it was voted on by the beginning of May, and that process would have been timed on chain for everything to happen and fast. And so we had something in place that wasn't implemented that we are losing now. And that's all I had to say about that.
Thank you, Ernest. Appreciate your perspective. Dutchy, let's go to you.
I just wanted to point out something for Cram. I did take the time to transcribe the very first spaces that me and Bored Ape Gazette and Rita hosted with Garga, and he addressed a lot of these initial questions in terms of like structure and how would it work. And not saying that it addressed everything, but we did scan sort of all the spaces, try to condense themes, and transcribe it. Now, I know apes don't read, so I know that that's a little bit like kryptonite. But what you can do is you can parse this thread and then basically look to the question. It always starts with the question, and then read the answer that most interests you. And that's probably easier than fast forwarding through a 3-hour space. So that, I did take the time to transcribe that. So if that's helpful for you to get like quick answers, there's a reason why I didn't do a TLDR. I know a lot of apes said, can you just tell me in one sentence if this is bullish or not? One thing considering there's a lot of like legal framework and specifically worded answers, I'm not going to be the one to do a TLDR of Garga's words. So I'd prefer if you read it exactly word for word what he said. And that way I'm not the one reframing it. So that's why I didn't take the time to do a TLDR, because it's all sensitive and up in the air. But if you do want to get to a specific question, like what is it? What's the future? How do they see it? What are they looking to fund? All those kinds of things. And you can just scroll through each post in the thread and just go, oh, that's what I'd like to read. And maybe that helps the apes that don't really enjoy reading too much. So I don't want to pin it over the claim code because we love the other page badge, but it's pinned to my profile if anyone's interested in reading that.
Appreciate you, Dutchy. I'll check it out.
Yo, Dutchy, I'm going to need you to transcribe this space too. Thanks, bro.
It can happen. So in advance, I'm going to do that. So you could just wait hours to be there. So keep a lookout for that thread.
It's always dope to you mentioned the badge too. It's always dope to see who showed up, and one token of appreciation. Just to show you're part of this community. You never know what types of utility and things that we can add to this. But as a creator, it's really empowering. I would say the same for Dutchy. So go follow Dutchy. Check out his bio. He does have an OG badge claim right now. And both other Space FM and Ape News, Dutchy's community, have offered some pretty cool utility. Night gliders. We offered 50 guaranteed allow list spots during the last episode. So congratulations, everyone who grabbed an OSFM Nightglider badge. You have guaranteed allow-less access for this upcoming mint on ApeChain. And shit, man, that shit has been getting pretty hyped. Some pretty good feedback so far on the timeline with regards to this beautiful pixel art and some of the worlds that they're building. So shout out to Pilot, shout out to the Nightgliders, and Dutchy. Appreciate you joining us today on stage as well. And that includes Garga and everyone else who pulled up to this space on stage. Nova, I just wanted to circle back with you. If you have any closing thoughts, would love to have you share.
Just want to say thank you to all of you for listening in today. It was a great space. Thank you for Crypto Garga for joining us today. The AIP, the DAO AIP, the Sunset the DAO, is going for vote tonight in about 5 hours from now. AIP 596. So definitely go check it out. Vote, with your heart. Even if it's a yes or no, whatever you said to do, it's okay with me. I don't care. And we are going to be dropping a collectible to commemorate the DAO shutdown pretty soon here. So definitely look out for something cool coming from other page. Be able to mint. There'll be a Forever On-Chain to kind of celebrate the DAO's legacy or the lack thereof, or maybe a combination of both. Thank you all of you for coming today. I really appreciate you guys and excited for, next space that we're going to host. And definitely get your badge today. You just never know what's going to happen when you have a badge from other page. It could be, airdrop potentially, at any given time.
Something you must have. According to Nova.
Something you must have. These badges are something you must fucking have in your wallet. Okay.
My dead friends. Yeah. I skipped you over, my dead friends. I meant to close this space up at the top of the hour, but if you want to quickly jump in, say what's up, and if have something to share.
Yo. My dead friends. I just wanted to come in real quick, man, and just say, you guys are doing a great job. I'm not going to take up any of you guys' time. Let's get into that other Borg Gazette spaces. Don't forget to go claim your other Space FM badges. Go to the other page right now to claim that badge, man.
My dead friends.
Y'all doing great.
Let's go. Thank you for joining Kill DAO Volume 1. And had a great episode of Other Space FM. So appreciate y'all for pulling up. Definitely claim that badge. Tap in on that bottom right-hand corner. Repost this space as it's recorded. And go vote on the AIP. Peace, everyone.
Thanks for listening to ApeChain on Chain. This project is powered by the ApeCoin DAO through AIP 572. Bringing our community's valuable conversations on chain and also on traditional audio platforms. Rate this episode and/or leave feedback and earn Dixo rewards by visiting the Dixo on-chain platform.